You know, you've just graduated, your boxes are packed for a massive move. You really should be thrilled.
Oh, absolutely. On paper, you should be.
Yeah, exactly. So why is your heart racing, your palms are sweating, and your brain is just flashing this giant danger sign?
Right. It's a total disconnect.
It really is. And today we are looking at the biological reality behind why getting exactly what you want can sometimes feel like a literal crisis.
Which is such a weird phenomenon to experience.
It is. And for our exploration into the source material today, we are centering on a really fascinating paper from July 2026 by Dr. S.P. Chan. It's titled Graduate's Next Stop, Facing Mental Health Challenges.
It's a great piece, really digs into the mechanics of it.
Yeah, and the goal here is to extract a practical toolkit for navigating the heavy stress of major life transitions. So whether you're staring down a new career, maybe a cross-country move, or just, any moment your daily environment fundamentally shifts.
Because the stress is very real, even if the change is a positive one.
Right, okay, let's unpack this. Because I think to actually manage the stress of a life transition, we first have to understand the mechanics of what is physically happening to you.
Yeah, what's happening to you when your world changes? And the paper points to the Holmes-Rye Life Stress Inventory.
Oh, right. I love this concept.
It's crucial here because it assigns a literal point value to life events. So getting married, moving to a new city, graduating.
They all rack up points, right?
Exactly. They all rack up points. And if you accumulate too many points in a single year, your statistical risk of physical illness just skyrockets.
Wow, which really proves that stress isn't just, feeling worried. The paper defines it as this dual response mechanism.
It's twofold.
Yeah, so you have the psychological side, which is the tension, the anxiety, the fear, but then you have the physiological side, like your heart racing, sweating, shaking hands.
It's a built-in biological reaction.
Yeah. It triggers whenever you feel helpless or when your self-esteem is threatened by having to adapt to a totally new set of rules. It actually makes me think of a hermit crab.
A hermit crab. Okay, I like where this is going.
Hear me out. So, when you shed a massive identity like taking off the student label to enter the workforce, you are basically a hermit crab changing shells.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. The new shell is a necessary upgrade, but in that in-between moment, you are entirely exposed and naturally terrified.
You're vulnerable. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, recognizing that biological reality shifts your entire perspective on what you're experiencing.
How so?
Well, instead of viewing that intense anxiety as a personal failure or, a sign that you aren't ready for the next step, you can see it for what it actually is.
Just biology doing its thing.
Exactly. It's a necessary adaptation to new environmental demands. Your body is just mobilizing resources to do something hard.
That is so validating to hear. But let's look at how this manifests when a high-stakes moment actually hits. Say it's results day, or you literally just stepped into your new apartment.
Right, the moment of truth.
Yeah. How do people typically react in that exact moment of transition?
Well, when these high-stakes moments hit, the paper shows people generally fall into one of three camps.
Okay, that's the first one.
First is elation. The dream scenario where the burden is lifted and you're just thrilled.
Really nice. What's the second?
Second is deep indignation or resentment.
Oh, like anger.
Yeah, which happens if they feel cheated by the results, and they just spiral into anger about the unfairness of it all.
That makes sense. And the third?
Or third, they fall into a total despondent panic, confusion, just shutting down.
It's that third one, the panic, that I really want to zoom in on. That sort of black hole of catastrophizing, where you suddenly think your entire future is ruined just because your environment changed.
It's a very scary place to be.
It is. And to pull yourself out of that spiral, Dr. Chan introduces a 3-step emotional management first aid sequence.
Which is incredibly practical.
Yeah, so it goes. Awareness and acknowledgement, then acceptance and expression, and finally resolution and replacement. But, and I have to push back here a bit.
Go for it.
If you are falling into a black hole, doesn't sitting there acknowledging the panic just make it worse? Like, why not just immediately turn on a movie and distract yourself?
It's common instinct, for sure. But what's fascinating here is that the source explicitly warns against early distraction.
Really? Why?
Because you cannot suppress the physiology of negative emotions. If you try, the anxiety just mutates and shows up somewhere else.
Oh, like stomach aches or insomnia.
Exactly. So why does acknowledging the emotion actually work? Because the moment you put a specific name to your fear or anger, you force your brain to move activity out of the emotional panic center, the amygdala.
Right, the lizard brain.
Yeah, and you move it into the prefrontal cortex, which handles logic and reasoning.
Oh, wow. So naming it literally changes the blood flow in your brain.
Precisely. Accepting the state you are in is the biological stepping stone required to actually resolve it. You bridge that gap by expressing the emotion to a family member or friend.
That makes so much sense. So once you get your brain out of that panic center, you actually have the cognitive bandwidth to make decisions about what comes next.
Right, you can actually think clearly again.
Yeah. And the paper uses the example of a graduate deciding whether to study or work overseas versus staying in mainland China. It frames this big decision around three pillars: timing, environment, and relationships.
It's a really solid framework. And it's rooted in traditional concepts, which I love.
Break those down for us.
Sure. So timing, or heavenly timing, means asking if the opportunity aligns with academic calendars and your current life stage.
Right. Does the schedule actually work?
Exactly. Then environment, or earthly advantage, is about evaluating if the local culture and your daily living situation actually fit your personality.
Like, will you actually be happy waking up there every day?
Yes. And the third is relationships, or human harmony, which centers entirely on having the support of your family and the people closest to you.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You can look at this framework like a three-legged stool.
Oh, I like that imagery.
Yeah, so if you have the timing figured out and the environment is a perfect fit, but you lack that relationship leg-like, if your family completely opposes the move.
It falls apart.
Exactly, the whole decision wobbles. It just becomes structurally unstable.
It does. And if that relationship leg is missing, you can't just force the decision or ignore the wobble.
You can't just pretend it's fine.
Right. The clinical approach here actually requires stepping back and initiating what they call a values alignment conversation.
Okay, what does that look like in practice?
You have to open your heart and have calm, structured discussions to truly understand each other's perspectives. I mean, it is the only prescribed method to avoid long-term resentment and protect family harmony.
Which brings up a really critical dynamic about how the people around you behave.
It's so important.
Because since a support system is a crucial pillar of any big transition, the article gives strict guidelines for how families should foster that harmony.
And they are very specific guidelines.
They are. It's like listen wholeheartedly, maintain supportive body language, avoid judgmental comments, and above all, avoid rushing to provide answers.
That last one is the hardest for people.
It really is. Why is our default instinct as family members, or even just as friends, honestly, to immediately jump in and fix the problem rather than just listening?
Because watching someone you care about suffer is deeply uncomfortable.
It is. We just want the pain to stop.
Exactly. But rushing to provide answers usually means the person listening is overwhelmed by your emotions. It's more about their discomfort than your need.
Oh, wow. So it's actually kind of selfish, in a way.
Unconsciously, yes. If your parents try to instantly fix your problem, they are invalidating your immediate emotional reaction.
That is so true.
And if you are the one supporting a friend through a transition, you have to remember that jumping to fix it actually robs them of the time they need to cognitively process their new reality.
So what does this all mean? Like, as you pack for your own journey, Dr. Chan suggests creating a personal mental health first aid kit.
Which is such a brilliant concept.
It really is. This includes daily coping strategies for high emotions, stuff like distraction, exercise to lower that physiological reactivity, and deep breathing.
Just practical, everyday tools.
Yeah. It also includes the 2-week rule.
Yeah.
So if your distress persists for 2 weeks or more, it is time to seek professional counseling.
A very clear benchmark.
Right. And you should always have emergency psychological contacts saved in your phone, just in case.
And this raises an important question. When you travel, you wouldn't think twice about packing adhesive bandages, painkillers, maybe some fever reducers in your suitcase.
Of course not. That's just basic packing.
Right. But do you treat psychological first aid with that same tangible seriousness? Like, do you have a prepared response for when your mind sustains an injury?
Man, that hits hard. Because transition stress isn't a weakness, it is a biological response to a new environment.
It's completely natural.
Yeah. When you hit an emotional black hole, you cannot skip straight to the fix. You have to accept and name the fear to move your brain out of its panic center.
Name it to tame it.
Exactly. Big life decisions require the structural alignment of timing, environment, and relationships. And if you are supporting someone else, listening without trying to fix them is the ultimate form of care.
It truly is.
And these insights come backed by serious credentials, by the way. Dr. S.P. Chan holds degrees in psychotherapy, mental health, and psychiatry from Edinburgh, CUHK, and Cardiff.
It is a profoundly practical framework, grounded in rigorous clinical understanding.
It really is. And, Dr. Tan applies this first aid kit to graduating students facing the massive shift from school to the real world.
Right, that specific demographic.
But consider this. What if we proactively audited our own personal mental health first aid kit every single time we faced any shift in our identity?
Oh, I love that idea.
Right. Whether it's a new job, a cross-country move, or I don't know, even a breakup. If we took the time to pack this psychological suitcase before the crisis ever hit, would we ever fall into the black hole to begin with?
That is something to really think about. Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration into the source material.
Yes, thank you. We wish you a brilliant journey at your own next stop.